You know, when you sometimes wake up in the morning and your mood is somewhat predefined based on the dream state you are in just before you woke up. And then sometimes you're not able to shake that mood even throughout the day. So this happens to me quite often. So what I've started doing a few months back, first thing I do when I wake up is I have sage and I have different oils in my bedroom and I have candles. So I clear the room with sage, sprinkle some oils around, I lit a candle and I say a little prayer. And sometimes this helps, but not always. It almost depends on how long I've spent in this specific dream state where my brain was just sitting there. So this is what happened this morning. I followed my routine, but I couldn't shake the mood. And it wasn't easy. It was somewhat heavy and something which I didn't quite understand. So I went outside and I decided just to sitting on a chair and looking at the sky until I find out what this is. You know, also requires some stubbornness as well. So, given patience is not one of my virtues. I'm a very impatient personality in any event. So I went outside. I sat on a chair. Beautiful fall day. The sky had looked like a liquid mercury. Clouds were moving fast. Mercury colors, silvery colors, and trees were still green. So just sitting there and just looking at the sky and looking at the trees. My gaze at some point fell on the shrubbery in front of the house, which was recently trimmed. So what happened at that point was there was whole point of the whole process of thinking. When you know, it's like it is you, but it's also you're catching something which is not quite yours. So the thought which came was the earth has collected a huge hairball, and a vision of when cats lick themselves and they collect the hairballs, or if you brush your dog's fur and you collect the hairball. And this is what had happened with the earth. A huge amount, humongous hairball has been collected. It's almost like those dark consciousnesses, they've collected themselves, they've glued themselves into this huge, dark, disgusting thing, which is like it has been rolled into one thing, like exactly like the hairball. And also a lot of humans, exactly like what cats do, they've cleaned themselves. So they've thrown up the hairballs. Many others are still keeping the hairballs inside of them for many different reasons. But the ones which expelled the dark consciousnesses, it's almost like they've connected, and now the whole planet is in the process of cleansing. And then I'm like, okay, that's great. Why am I sitting in this disgusting hairball? And then it was like, you don't have to sit in it. You can just sit outside of it, but you're still observing it. You're watching it. And by the way, you're watching it grow. This is only gonna grow more. And as it grows, it has to be burned. And how do we burn it? We burn it through watching the hairball, and we have to see it, and we burn it with our consciousness. All right, so that's not easy, but at least it's something to understand what is going on. And then in one of my previous recordings, I was talking about the elements: earth, water, air, fire, and how air is under attack at the moment. So it's almost like we need the fire, the upper echelon of our consciousness, to help us burn whatever is attacking the air. So this was helpful. It helped me to relieve that tension which I was going through, not knowing why am I in this tension. So it's not easy, but at least understanding a little bit what it is, it helps. So let's burn that freaking hairball. Burn it. And let's ask Archangel Michael, with your beautiful sword, help us burn the hairball. Angels, please help us burn this hairball. Please help us get out of the darkness into the light. So, and I wanted to share something which I guess it's very similar. I arrived to sometime last summer, and I was thinking, I was thinking, how do we attract those things to ourselves? And I mentioned prior to this how thoughts and emotions, they have their own forms and shapes, and it's almost like they fly around and they have different charges. So depending on our own charge, we may attract something which may absolutely not be ours. It just by flying around, it gets attracted to our field. So I apparently I looked into this last summer, and I was thinking, you know, when if you've seen kids going down a slide, a plastic slide, and their hairs, they go like a, not a disco ball, but like they stick out and they look so funny out of coming out of the plastic slides, especially shorter hairs. They look like I don't know, like spikes are coming out of them. And even if they walk around, the hairs, sometimes they don't come down, they just walk like this. So I looked at this phenomena. I wanted to know what exactly this is. And apparently it's called triboelectric. And it's the same thing. If you have a balloon, and if you rub the balloon to the wall, it just gets stuck to the wall. Magic. But what's happening is electrons from the friction, they escape from the molecules, and this and they connect with photons. So the plus and minus charges, they interact, and this is how this magic happens. And usually, and so it's also a triboelectric, but it's also static. When we say static, and many of you have experienced static, you touch something and there is little charge. So these are like electrical charges, free electrons, which are either within or on the surface, usually of a metal. And so they repel those particles. They just repel, and this is like the phenomena we see. And static, what does static mean? It means the current, and we usually define current as a flow of electrons, right? But in this case, the current is stuck. There is no flow. So the electrons are just stuck. They don't flow. They're just right there. And when we do an electrostatic discharge, we neutralize this static charge of the electrons, or they find their way, a flow, so to say. I don't know why this is so funny. I think because I'm still thinking of the kids with their sticking hairs. A lot of hair conversation today, right? So then I was going through all of this, and while I was sitting outside, and I'm like, this is not easy. Even just observing this, as much as understanding it, it doesn't make it any easier. So then I was given this meditation, and the meditation is pretty much how to neutralize the biofield. And it's done with a comb. The comb has a rubber top, then it has gold in the middle, and silver at the end of each comb spike. So this is an electrostatic discharge for our biofield, for our human field. So the electrons, they can find their peace and realign themselves in a neutral state. And then I wrote here the silver Ag. This is the material with the highest electrical conductivity. So this is the little comb I'm talking about. And this will be the meditation for today. Close your eyes and imagine this comb combing your hair, your body, your skin, and then going outside like a feet outside of the body, combing the whole field, going 2 feet, 3 feet, and you're all aligned, all neutralized.